Respect does not disappear in one day. It fades quietly, like sunlight leaving a room. My name is Margaret. I am 78 years old, and I have been married for 56 years. When you say that number out loud, it sounds like loyalty, like strength, like something unbreakable. But time alone does not protect a marriage. I learned that slowly. In the beginning, we were not loud lovers. We were gentle. We built a small life together. We bought secondhand furniture, planted roses in the yard, and shared tea at the kitchen table every night. He used to look at me when I spoke. Even if he disagreed, he listened. The changes did not come with shouting. They came with silence. He stopped asking about my day. He stopped noticing when I changed my hair. He stopped saying thank you. At first, I told myself it was normal. We were busy. He worked long hours. I raised our children. Life moves quickly in your 30s and 40s. You do not stop to examine every feeling. You survive. But I remember the first time I felt something shift inside me. We were sitting in the living room. The television was on, but neither of us was watching it. I was telling him about a small pain in my chest I had been feeling. He did not look at me. He just said, "You worry too much." It was not cruel. It was casual. That hurt more. I began to notice how often my words were brushed aside. If I had an opinion, he would sigh. If I suggested something, he would correct it. Slowly, I started speaking less. You see, disrespect does not always shout. Sometimes it is a raised eyebrow, a small laugh, a sentence that makes you feel foolish. I did not realize then that I was shrinking. Loneliness inside a marriage is different from being alone. It is heavier. By the time I turned 60, our children had moved away. The house became quiet. You would think that would bring two people closer. Instead, the silence grew between us. We lived in the same rooms, but not in the same world. He had his chair by the window. I had mine near the lamp. In the evenings, the clock on the wall sounded louder than our voices. Tick, tick, tick. Time reminding me that life does not wait. There were things I never said. I never told him how much I gave up when he wanted to move cities for his job. I left my friends, my small bookkeeping work, the garden I loved. I told myself that was marriage, compromise, support. But over the years, support became expectation. My efforts became invisible. One afternoon, I baked his favorite pie. I placed it carefully on the table, the smell of warm apples filling the kitchen. When he walked in, he said, "You used too much sugar last time. I hope you fixed it." He did not even taste it first. I smiled. I always smiled. Inside, something ached. I began talking to myself in my head. Maybe I am too sensitive. Maybe this is just how long marriages are. At least he doesn't yell. We measure pain against worse pain and call it gratitude. At night, we slept facing opposite walls. I could hear his breathing. Steady. Calm. I would stare at the ceiling and wonder when I became someone who felt like a guest in her own life. The hardest part was not the lack of affection. It was the lack of acknowledgement. I felt unseen, not hated, not loved, just unnoticed. And when you are over 60, you start counting your remaining years. You begin to ask yourself difficult questions. How many more winters do I have? Do I want to spend them feeling small? The moment that changed me was not dramatic. It was quiet, almost ordinary. I was sitting at the dining table with a small envelope in my hands. Medical results. The doctor had found something unusual. It might have been nothing, or it might have been serious. At 72, every test feels heavier. The house was silent except for the refrigerator humming in the kitchen. Late afternoon light came through the curtains, soft and golden. He was in the next room, watching television. I walked to the doorway and said his name. He did not turn around. I said it again, a little louder. Yes, he answered, eyes still on the screen. I got my test results today. Are you fine? He asked. I don't know yet. He nodded slowly, but did not mute the television. In that moment, something inside me became clear. If this paper in my hand had said I had only a year left, would my last memories be of this? Standing in a doorway, feeling like an interruption? That night, I lay awake beside him. I watched the faint streetlight touch his face. He looked peaceful. I wondered if he had any idea how lonely I felt. Fear came over me. Not fear of illness, fear of regret. Time after 60 feels different. It is no longer endless. You can almost see its edges. I whispered into the dark, I do not want to disappear before I die. That was the first honest sentence I had said to myself in years. The next morning I made tea. My hands trembled, but not from age. He sat at the table, reading the newspaper. Sunlight fell across the wood between us. I need to talk to you, I said. He lowered the paper slowly. About what? About us. He looked confused. What about us? I took a breath that felt like it reached back 50 years. I feel alone in this marriage. He frowned. You're not alone. I'm right here. That's the problem, I said softly. You are here, but you are not with me. Silence filled the kitchen. I don't feel respected, I continued. When I speak, you dismiss me. When I worry, you call me dramatic. When I try, you correct me. I have spent years making myself smaller so you would not be annoyed. His face changed. Not angry, just surprised. I didn't know you felt that way, he said quietly. I know, I replied, because you stopped listening. We talked for a long time that morning. Not perfectly, not beautifully. There were tears. There were misunderstandings. But there was truth. He admitted he thought providing and staying was enough. I admitted I had stayed silent too long. Respect is not about fear. It is about being seen, being heard, being valued. At my age, I have learned something important. Love without respect slowly empties you. And staying where you are not respected teaches others how to treat you. I am not telling you to leave at the first mistake. Marriage is work. But if you are over 60 and your heart feels small every day, please listen to that feeling. Time is precious now. Do not spend your remaining years begging to be acknowledged. Speak, even if your voice shakes. Because disappearing quietly is not loyalty, it is loss. And we deserve to be seen until our very last breath.